A massive decision for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about their recent signing of Talen Horton-Tucker and what this means for the Chicago Bulls. And also, too, we'll be talking about what Josh Giddey is looking to get in his next contract with the Chicago Bulls. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so, breaking news has been in as it was reported some hours back here that Talen Horton-Tucker has officially signed with the Chicago Bulls. That's right, THT. He is taking that last roster spot with the Chicago Bulls. And so let's talk about just how good THT has been, because I think that he has played absolutely fabulous throughout this preseason. And this is really what I was looking towards seeing when he left the Los Angeles Lakers. And I mean, some of his highlights so far in the preseason, I mean, he's had point totals of 16, 15, 8, and then he also had 9 points as well. But more importantly, you know, for a player that hasn't really shown that he can knock down the three ball, he has shot 40% in a couple games playing in the preseason. And so you see that the talent level is still there. And I think that THT is young enough that perhaps he could maybe go ahead and discover that consistency to go along with his game. I love the fact that he plays with just that bully ball nature, playing that way on the offensive end and really bullying his way into the basket. And then I like to defensively, he has the ability to get out there and play multiple positions. There were times where he had multiple steals in a game. So he's active in his, going into the passing lanes and things like that, which is something that the Chicago Bulls are going to want because, you know, they want to get out and they want to run. So the Bulls want to run. They want to get out and get some three-point shots up. And so defensively, if you're going ahead, you're getting steals and you're getting out into fast breaks, that's exactly what they would want. And so this fits into the playing style that the Chicago Bulls want. And then, you know, with THT, and, you know, the question of can he play or will he play with this 15th spot on the roster, I absolutely think he can because, you know, just a little statistic here. Patrick Williams has averaged about 4.2 rebounds for his career. There were several times where THT had 6 rebounds in a game. And then there were some times where he had 4 rebounds. And then for his career, he has averaged 2.8 rebounds. And so, you know, I think that this is a situation much like the situation with the Lakers where, you know, THT is going to be looked at as a player that Billy Donovan might have to put in there. And he might be like, look, you can go ahead and you can, you know, definitely get your shots up on the offensive end as long as you're going to play some defense and get rebounds. And I think THT has a very good understanding of that. And so I think that he is going to get out there, rebound with the best of them. And we might need him to do so because remember, Sanogo is on a two-way deal. So he may not be, you know, on the bench that night that we need him to come in and perhaps give the front court some, some rebounding help. And I think that THT is that guy, plus he's a bucket getter. So I like it. Let's look a little bit more into the details of this particular deal because I think that this is interesting and this is something that I definitely want to talk about here. And so when you look at the details of this deal, I think that the key thing to take away is that January 7th day, that the Chicago Bulls need to make a decision on him because then it doesn't become a guaranteed salary for the season. And so I love what was talked about on Chicago Bulls Central. Shout out to Hayes. They do great work around the Chicago Bulls. Definitely make sure that you subscribe. And they talked about the fact, or I should say Hayes talked about the fact that, you know, with this partially guaranteed contract and that date, this is really going to be maybe a telltale sign for if the Chicago Bulls might be making a move. Because if they cut THT before this date, this would tell you that the team is getting ready to make a move either via trade or they're getting ready to bring somebody in. But more than likely, if you're going to make a trade, you have this partially guaranteed deal. That way you can move a player off the roster if you have to take somebody incoming here. And so that could be something to monitor with this contract situation. But I think that this is a great deal. I think this could be a steal for the Chicago Bulls, and I absolutely like it. I think that most of the Chicago Bulls fan base will agree with this signing. And so next up, we are talking about a player that the Chicago Bulls are going to have to make a decision on pretty soon, and that is going to be Josh Giddey. And so, yes, we have the exciting news that THT has signed, but then we have some news here around Josh Giddey. He's looking for about $30 million per year into his next contract. And so, obviously we don't know what the Chicago Bulls would do as far as going out there and offering him the years on this deal. But it is talking about if that is the number that Josh Giddey is looking for, it is not something that he has just made up. They talk about Emmanuel Quickly and how he has just signed with the Raptors here, the $175 million deal for 5 years. And so, I think that's breaks down to about $35 million. And so, that's kind of right around where I guess Josh Giddey is looking to get paid at. And so, initially when I see this, I think that, if Josh Giddey can get to a player where he was in year 2, where he was close to 17 points a game, or 16 points a game, 7 rebounds, and also the 6 assists, then this is absolutely a player that is going to be worth the $30 million price tag here on his next contract, and maybe even more, all right? Because that is one of the things that if you go out there and you look it up and see what's going on around the possibility of him re-signing, it might be more than $30 million if he goes out there and he balls out this year. But that is really going to be the major question mark going into this year, because I certainly think that Josh Giddey is a player that he cannot be the same player that he was at OKC last season, and think that, that's going to certainly translate into a big payday. And also, too, is it going to translate into some major success down the line? Because I think the Chicago Bulls are very interested in him. They're very invested in him, but I think they're invested in him getting to the next level as a three-point shooter and also to a defender. It's not like he has to be elite or anything like that, but he has got to be much better on the defensive end, a lot more active and getting steals and not just letting his man get around him. And also, too, he has got to be able to stretch the floor. Like I said before, defenses are going to go ahead and definitely pack it in on Josh Giddey, and you have got to be able to knock down those shots when they are available. And I mean, the game has changed, all right, because I look back and I'm thinking of a player that I think he won a championship with the San Antonio Spurs, Avery Johnson. They used to call him the Little General. I remember seeing a stat where there was one season he shot 14%, but that was only on 22 attempts for the year. Look, the Chicago Bulls in this last preseason game shot up 53 pointers. All right. So that's like 25, 26 3-pointers in the half. And so, look, the game has changed and there is a premium on shooting the 3-point shot. And so Josh Giddey has got to get better there. And also, too, he has got to make teams pay a little bit more once he does get in the paint. He's got to be a little bit more of a better finisher around the paint, not get bumped off course, and make sure he finishes there. And so, that leads me to the last point with Josh Giddey and kind of going into it. I think that there's this notion that, hey, maybe Lonzo Ball would be the guy that is going to replace Josh Giddey. And I don't think that that is the case. I think that Lonzo Ball at this point in time is in a situation where he's on a minutes restriction. Yes, he has been impactful for the Chicago Bulls. And I do think, yes, there is a possibility he does finish the season. I also think that there is a possibility, if he continues to show signs like this, that a team might want to come in and trade for him, just as, pretty much a one-year rental here, because he is on an expiring contract. If you do feel like you need a player like Lonzo Ball that can give you anywhere from 16 to 20 minutes, and that is going to be enough to get you to a championship, then I absolutely think that a team could go and go get Lonzo Ball. I mean, like I said before, this reminds me a lot of Sean Livingston, but I think he's even much better than what Sean Livingston was, because you still see that a lot of that athleticism is there. And so either way, I don't think that it is Lonzo Ball that is going to be the guy that would come in and necessarily push Josh Giddey, to the bench. I think that if anybody is going to do so, I think that is going to be Ayo. I think that Ayo, really, when you saw what he did in the starting position in this last preseason game, going out there, scoring 19 points, and just really being a huge impact, for the Chicago Bulls. And I think that him, like a Kobe White, these guys are ready to take another step. And I just think that, if you have Ayo coming out here getting 19 points, the 3 rebounds, being a plus 13 in the box score, and also getting 3 to 5 assists a game, yes, that's absolutely going to put pressure on Josh Giddey, especially if he continues to stay the same player. And so, I think that Kobe White, Ayo, those players are going to get better. I just don't think that Lonzo is going to be a part of the future plans for the Chicago Bulls. I could be wrong. Maybe there is something pending here on this next year. Maybe they are looking to extend him, but I couldn't see them going out there and taking a chance with him, after the injuries and things that he's kind of gotten to in his career before, this 2.5-year layoff. And so I think that a lot of the chips are probably going to be invested into Josh Giddey, and they're going to give Josh Giddey every opportunity to go out there and really, just take this lead guard road, that he's wanted to take since he left OKC. And so, yes, if anybody is going to replace Josh Giddey down the line, I think it would be Ayo Dosumo. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you feel like, Josh Giddey should get a contract that is $30 million or more? Do you feel like it should be something that is much lesser than that? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are there. And then also, too, with THT, do you agree with this signing? Do you feel like, yes, it is something that the Chicago Bulls absolutely needed to do? And do you feel like he's going to be a little bit of an impact this year? So I just want to thank everybody out there for liking, subscribing, and sharing the content out there. It really means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. Want to let you know about 64.2% of you that watch are not subscribed, so make sure that you go ahead and slam dunk on that subscribe button for us. And look, even though we're talking about contract extensions, the season hasn't started. The player hasn't even got a chance to show what he can do in Josh Giddey, and we're getting hyped for THT, who may or may not get some playing time this year. I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.